And so I named it after Teresa Della, who the caregiver. A year later, under a full moon and several glasses of wine, a friend was talking to me about a special memory she had of a beach in Wales where she went as a young girl. I was touched by a story and went home and painted this. All I can tell you is that when she saw it, she was overcome and shocked. And she still is every time she looks at it. In 2004, my mother was rushed to the Lakeshore General Hospital with a heart attack. I did this while I sat beside her bed with water-soluble pencils. Within 3 days, she was gone, and I was left heartbroken. This was actually done the day before she died. I didn't know how to grieve her death, spending days alone, just staring out the window, or screaming out to her ashes, which I had on my mantelpiece. At about 6 one morning, I couldn't sleep. I felt abandoned and asked her to give me a sign. Mom, give me a sign that you're out there. Tell me, are you there or you left me forever? A half hour later, I casually opened my front door of my home in Kirtland, and on the doormat was a bright blue robin's egg. I looked around, no sound, no sign of birds. I waited and waited and waited. In the end, I picked up the egg, I brought it inside and kept it beside her ashes. Some months later, I completed these paintings, deciding suddenly to switch to black and white, no color. And you know how colorful my paintings normally are. Up to then, I lived as if I would live forever. I was happy, I was healthy, I'd started my own fabric business. Then suddenly something happened to shatter the glass. In a crowded emergency of the Jewish General Hospital, while I lay alone on a stretcher with a crushed spine, a young intern held my hand and said, "I'm very sorry, Cheryl, but you have cancer of the bone marrow. You're not going home." Chapter in my life. I had multiple myeloma, cancer of the bone marrow, a cancer that will always belong to me because it is treatable but not curable, at least for now. I stayed in hospital for 5 long months, pondering all this stuff here, whether St. Peter would really greet me at the pearly gates or whether he'd finally be replaced by a woman. But in the hospital one day, an art therapist pushed a cart full of paint and brushes into my room. I hear you're an artist, would you like to try to paint? My first reaction was anger. Can't you see the mess I'm in? I can hardly move. You're asking me to paint? I'll never paint again. She left and came back over and over and over again till I finally relented. I hated losing my hair. I think that's the worst thing for a woman. Well, this was done in bed in the hospital. When I got home, heavily sedated, I sat and painted in bed. Later, with a cane in one hand, I'd spend hours in front of the easel. A year and 50 paintings later, I was in remission.